Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Thank You for 6 Dogs. I don't know what I'm gonna do with 6 dogs, but thank you for them anyways. Just kidding, I have 3 dogs already and I don't want to deal with that. So waiter, please hold the dogs. Thank you. Anyways, I'm here today to answer any questions you might have about me, Yamikaze, and or my channel. I want you all to know that I'm not a robot and I have human emotions and I've had human experiences. So I made a post asking you guys for Q's and here's some A's. But also, since some of you asked multiple questions in one post, I'm going to have to touch over each of them briefly. You'll see what I mean. Also, I have my handy dandy laptop right here next to me, because I am not really good at this kind of thing. Y'all are sincerely gonna have to bear with me, because when it comes to live recording, I am a nightmare. I will pose the first Q. Where did I get this lovely helmet? The truth is, I made it myself. I 3D modeled it, and I 3D printed it, and I made it all myself. But that's not entirely a good thing. You see, I am not exactly what you would call a 3D modeler, or 3D model, whatever the frick you'd call it. I am just a guy who did 3D modeling. Therefore, there really isn't any good way to record this. The audio is probably going to be choppy, and half the time I end up doing a voiceover over my voice. So in videos where I'm actually using my own voice, if it seems weirdly dubbed, that's why. Though I'm going to try to do this one normally how a normal person would record a video and post it on YouTube. But also, that being said, this thing is really bad at hiding my face. So much so that if I didn't have that camera exactly like that, you would be seeing the bottom half of my face. Which isn't the biggest deal in the world, but I don't want that. So with all that being said, let's actually get into it. Alright, first question, what's up? Well, that. Next Q, make the persona protagonist run the TBH gauntlet. Well, that's not exactly a question, or proper English for that matter, but I'll add it to the list. Are you gay? No. Am I gay? My girlfriend, she just goes to a different universe. Alright, these two Qs, as I've said, are kind of similar, so I'm going to lump them together. Honestly, the reason I became a creator is because, 1, it's always been a dream of mine, and 2, it honestly just suits who I am and the way I want to live. How has it been watching shows for work instead of leisure? Honestly, not as bad as you'd think. Normally, you'd think that it'd get old after like the 5th or 4th rewatch, but as I've learned with To Be Hero X, it never really gets old. Or at least for me. What I will say though is that it can be hard to recognize watching anime as part of my job. Whenever I am watching anime, I typically feel like it's a break or I'm being lazy. But now I'm pretty sure watching anime could literally be written off on my taxes. Q, how hard is it to run a YouTube channel? Honestly, a lot harder than you'd think, but it's still easier than a normal job. I mean, not that I'm making a truckload here on YouTube, I'm still a relatively small creator, but for what I am, I'm making a decent amount of money, I would say. And the work definitely does get tiring. It has me in my room basically every single day of the week, but in my opinion, it's still worth it. So harder than you'd think, but if you have the passion for it, then it's not that hard. And second part to this question, what is my future goal? Honestly, my future goal really is just to be the best version of me. Of course, that goal sounds extremely cheesy and played out, but it really is just what I want to be. I see myself best reflected here on YouTube. I see myself best reflected in my Stardust Kingdom Chronicles and also my music. So I'm just gonna do those things, and I'm gonna do them until I feel like I've done them the best I can. And also, while I'm at it, thank you for the congrats, it means a lot. Where do I think I'll be at the end of the year, or what is my end year goal? Honestly, my end year goal is just to get to 10,000 subscribers, because it may not seem like a lot, but that is genuinely a life-changing amount of subscribers. What inspired me to do YouTube since it's not typically a normal job? Well, for starters, I would never be happy at a normal job, and secondly, it's like I said, YouTube really just suits who I am better. I'm confident in what I have to say and what I have to provide, so I'm gonna live like that. YouTube inspirations. Okay, this one's kind of a tricky question because I have a lot of YouTubers that gave me the dream to become a creator, but almost none that actually inspired the content that I do today. If I honestly had to choose, I would probably pick out Game Theory and Squampopulous. I'm assuming most of you are familiar with Game Theory, but Squampopulous is basically the Game Theory but for story. He reviews movies, shows, all to just help get a better understanding of what makes story good. If you haven't already, I would definitely recommend watching his channel. Alright, third part of the question, even though there have been times where my channel hasn't been going through the best periods, basically how do I get through those times? Well, honestly, the biggest thing in YouTube is really just removing your feelings from the numbers. If you can do that, it basically just becomes one very complex math problem with occasional strokes of luck. Obviously, the broader goal is to get more views, but in my opinion, it's more beneficial to just move to a better standard of content. If your content's good, then people will watch. That is the basic philosophy of YouTube. And although there really hasn't been a more confusing time to be a YouTuber other than now, the same principle really does apply. Alright, sub or dub, and do you think the conversation has been taken too far? In my opinion, they're both fine. It's honestly just a matter of which you come by first. In most shows where I find the dub first, I find it weird to watch it in sub, and then also vice versa. Obviously, I think it's weird to genuinely judge somebody over which one they watch, but in my opinion, it can be cringier to watch the dub at times. Favorite ice cream flavor? Cookies and cream. Always, although I also do enjoy mochi if that's an acceptable answer. Do I think I'll ever do any other kind of content like reaction and gaming? Well, coincidentally, I already do a gaming channel over on Bonus Level 0, although I have said that I'm going to move it over to this channel, or at least I'm going to start streaming on this channel. Basically, I'm going to stream to my main channel, but then edit the VODs, and then put them on Bonus Level 0. And for reaction content, I don't know if you're talking about like actual react content, I'm not that big of a fan of it, but if you mean like commentary style, I actually have been thinking of that. If you guys would be interested in that, 30 subs on this channel and I'll drop my first ever reaction video, or commentary video rather. Do I ever plan on doing a face reveal? Well, the short answer is yes, but the long answer is I'm not even sure how I am a faceless creator. I guarantee you a handful of you have actually seen my face, because this channel, my Twitch channel, my Instagram, my literally everything, it was never faceless. I started being a content creator with comedy skits, like I showed my face and everything. Of course, after I fell backwards into being a faceless creator, I erased my face off the surface of the earth because I actually kind of like it this way. But at the same time, it's still surprising to me. I never thought I'd make it as a faceless creator. So to actually answer the question, I do plan on doing a face reveal, but only when YouTube becomes secondary for me. I actually want to become an author primarily, and then YouTuber secondarily. If that makes sense. How many OCs do I plan on making? Well, let's make a distinction here, because if you mean OCs as in the story, I could probably name 10 off the top of my head. But if you mean OCs as in the channel, which is what I'm assuming you're meaning, literally as long as I still can. I mean, obviously, I pull random OCs whenever I want because there's an infinite number of me, but also at the same time, I'm going to keep making channel member ones as long as the channel members, stay manageable. I don't have a cap for it, but if I all of a sudden get influx of 100 new people joining my membership, it might be a bit hard to keep supply with demand, so considering I'm only one person. Alright, opinion on the 2B Hero X community. Well, obviously, a bit biased here because that's a big section of my community, but it's niche, and typically the niche sections of any community are going to be the better ones because they're reeled in. Think My Hero Academia. I can remember a time where that was actually a niche community. It is not anymore, but when it was actually relatively chill. So, to answer, I love it. Second part, opinions on Sayandere. Well, I believe, and if it's not true, then I think Lucky Cyan should consider getting a very comfy basement for Luau. I don't trust Isol. Opinion on the X and the Queen ship. Well, in my opinion, it would kind of be hilarious because it'd go just about as well as people shipping Lolly with Nice. I don't think she'd be very pleased about it. What is the picture you decided to put on this post? Well, obviously you guys aren't going to know what they're talking about, but I will throw it right here. Hopefully. Do it me, right now, so I don't look like an idiot for longer. There it is. Again, kind of crazy to me, but this was the first ever official piece of media that I made for the Yamikaze channel. It wasn't explicitly made for the channel, it was for my first album I ever made, Stardust Falls. But I used this one because, again, it's the first official piece of art that I actually published. Well, not published as in, like, I'm an artist, published as in, like, it's out there under my name. I made this back in 2022, so basically forever ago, and I'm a fossil somehow. But basically when I was 14 or 15, and it kind of, to me at least, signifies where I started. In what order would I recommend watching 2B Hero X? Well, it depends on what you're going for. If you want to do it chronologically, go to my timeline video and then skip to the end because there is a graphic there that tells you everything that you would need to know to watch even the PVs in order. But in my personal opinion, I would just recommend watching it the way the show lays it out. Alright, Q, can I do free run content? Yes, I just have to finish it. Can I give more 2B Hero X content? Yes, I just have to finish it. Who are my top 10 favorite heroes, including Smile and the others? Yes, I just have to finish it. How would I rank all 11 top heroes, including Lin Ling, separately from Nice? Well, yes, and I finished it. Actually, for those interested, here's my personal list of my favorite heroes. Do I think Dragon Boy, Ghostblade, and Isol could get drunk? Well, Dragon Boy, I don't see why not. Ghostblade, I think he could, but he wouldn't really have any feelings about it. He would just kind of be disoriented and lose his balance. Isol, I think he would have too fast of like a metabolism. I think that's the thing with speedsters. I don't really know, that's just a guess. What are my thoughts on Vortex? I don't think he's dead. Do I think Megami will ever beat the allegations? No, and he doesn't deserve to. I'm going to make a full video covering that at some point, but just know that I think Megami is fraudulent in every respect. Do I think X and Nanami would be best friends? Yes, and I'm waiting for the fan art. Alright, if I had the choice to watch any forever ongoing anime, but only that anime, I would probably choose JJK. I feel like there's a lot of room for a fresh take there, so I probably wouldn't get that bored with it. What are my thoughts on summoning powers in general? Well, I think it's a very, very tricky thing. I feel like there's a lot of nuance to it, so I'll just leave it there for now, but just know that it's a very high risk, high reward technique depending on how you do it. Again, I don't think Megami did it well. What are my thoughts on this matchup? Well, in my opinion, her Gooners would probably be too strong to overcome. I think overcome is probably the wrong choice for it here. Am I a fan of either Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know much about Yu-Gi-Oh, but if you watch Pokemon, or if you play with Pokemon, or if you buy Pokemon cards, honestly, in my opinion, you're just a freaking nerd, dude. Like, I couldn't imagine being so geeky as to spend thousands of dollars on a Pokemon collection that you never even intended on selling. Isn't that weird? But in all seriousness, I typically have my Celebrations UPC right here. The one, I opened it, by the way, it's not sealed. But I will, just for a brief moment, display my Ultimate Grail card. This is my favorite card, and incidentally, my most expensive. But yes, I am a massive Pokemon fan, and I also stream Legends ZA on bonus level 0, which will be coming to this channel, so when I do, feel free to join us. Death Battle, it's been a while since I heard that name, so I actually haven't watched Death Battle since I was a kid, so I can't really answer this question. I'm assuming you mean across these kinds of medias, so I'm going to give you two animes that I really enjoy. I can't really pick between these, so I'm just going to tell you both of them, Sword Art Online and Habaneri of the Iron Fortress. Habaneri of the Iron Fortress you probably haven't heard of, but it is amazing, trust me. And Sword Art Online, that was the first anime that I ever chose to watch, so it kind of started this whole thing. Have I watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Yes, and I've been putting off the rewatch for like 2 years at this point. Top 5 anime? There you go. I always struggle to come up with a proper favorites list because I forget the ones that I actually really like, but that's what I came up with off the top of my head. How many animes have I actually watched? I don't know. There have been so many niche animes that I've just watched a couple episodes of and then completely dropped, but if I had to guess on the very conservative side, I would say 20. Maybe. Alright, what is my character's lore? So, the lore of starts in Lost Genesis, but as for this channel, I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't know who I am, where I am, or what I'm doing here, but what I can tell you is that there are an infinite number of me, just across every dimension. Oh yeah, and isn't a... I feel like you should know that. I knew this day would come. And I'm here to tell you that it's kind of yes and no. It's not that he necessarily inspired the design, he more just inspired me to wear blue hoodies, and I've been wearing blue hoodies for the past 13 years, probably. Specifically, this one kind of blue hoodie, like I'm an actual fucking NPC in real life. I will show you photo evidence. There's like 13 blue hoodies in my closet as we speak. So the blue hoodie thing, it did start from Sans, but the skull thing, that's actually just complete coincidence. This was inspired off of something completely different, which I will save for another day. Okay, I just want to answer all of these together because I feel like this needs to be addressed. I do not know, I do not have any affiliation with Diddy Kaze and Mr. Epstein Kaze. Listen, I was the first one to cut him off back then when I found out what he was doing. I was actually the first one, and I've never been to an island. I've never been to... How am I doing? Well, that's actually a great question. And, the answer is yes. What is my favorite food? Okay, and do a food review. My favorite food is chocolate chip cookies. That might sound boring, but again, I'm literally a fucking NPC. If you ever see me in real life, there's like a 20% chance that I'm literally baking chocolate chip cookies as we speak. But in my opinion, the gooiness matched with the freshly baked warmth, it's important that they're freshly baked. The freshly baked warmth and the crunch, they have to have crunch to them. It just makes for the perfect combination, and top it off with a glass of milk and you got yourself a perfect dessert there. What's my favorite snack? Okay, I would differentiate snack from dessert. I would count dessert as a food, but I would count snack as like a sugary treat. I would say my favorite snack is marshmallows. Who's my favorite character in Sonic the Hedgehog if I have one? It is Silver the Hedgehog. It's kind of embarrassing to admit this right now, but I used to have everything Sonic. I used to have Sonic bed sheets. I used to have a Sonic quilt. I used to really like Sonic. This was when I was like 4, mind you. Anyways, I hope this Q&A lived up to the hype. Again, if we get like 30 subs on this channel, then I might start a commentary thing. Who knows? But sincerely, thank you all for 6K subs, and thank you for this person, because they asked me to do the Q&A initially. I didn't really have any plans for 6K subscribers, but I'm happy to know that you guys are interested in me and this channel at large. But with that said, it's probably already going to be a nightmare to edit, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and thank you all for everything that you've done for me, and it looks like there's nothing left to be said. So with that, I bid you peace, my friend.